So, quick update on where the timeline is at. You'll notice that Court Creatures did not release. I put a note inside the video. Our World Invasion is also going to be pushed back. Unfortunately, what I wanted to do was make mechanical mod followed by a creative mod and then another mechanical mod. But there's been issues. I set the timeline based off of proof of concepts that I made very quickly, and I ran into some issues. And particularly with the court creatures, I noticed that animals that were of the lighter shade, a lighter color, had some significant issues with shading, and that kind of caused this situation. Then I tried messing around with the different kinds of shaders to see if I can find one that worked, and then I contacted a few other people who explained some things that I am not smart enough to understand. So then I switched over to something else. I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on in Outworld. And for Outworld, what I wanted to do was I wanted to create some not only characters, but I wanted to add some clothes, some personality into the mod. And so I tried to import some clothes, and again, I failed horribly. The shading again. A lot of this is because some of the clothes and the characters, they come with a different set of normals than what CK3 accepts. And like I said, I'm just not smart enough to crack that nut yet. I did have more success with the artifacts in testing out some material effects on the artifacts. More particularly, besides floating and moving swords, I mean like flame kind of things. What I want to do is I want to create a mist effect around this sword. Um, and I got it to very very ugly. But I'm gonna take a look at some things to see if I can improve that. But yeah, that's kind of it is. When something doesn't work, I just kind of move on to the next one, and then I'll revisit it as I can. But as far as the timeline goes, it's pretty fragged. I will say this: every single time that I try to do something new into the game, some kind of mod into, and I'm doing something that somebody else does, I just have more of appreciation for what they do. And modeling clothes, holy shit. Making blend shapes, holy shit. Like I said, these guys are amazing. The work that they do is amazing. The detail on the clothes, they should be paid. Fantastic modders in this community. The community flavor pack, the EPE, those mods are just fucking killing it. Those are you have to have those mods in there if you're playing. Otherwise, it's kind of weak. All right, so just a quick update. Still here. The special tab here, the Envoy here. These values again matter and matter even more now due to the updates. This guy has really nothing good. He has average, just about a 3. So what you'll notice right away is the prestige and difference in culture. This has been nerfed about more than half, I think. It's just it was mostly the stuff from the emissary. I debated for a while whether or not just to modify the emissary. The big I guess the big struggle there was when to actually enable this, and I wanted this to be wanted everybody to be able to do this, so I didn't want to lock it behind something. Technically, more of a roleplay aspect, I guess, I would lock this behind the diplomat. So, like, if you had, let's say, diplomacy and you had the diplomat, then you can actually hire envoys. But then I realized, a lot of people don't do diplomat, don't do the diplomatic route. But I guess if you're playing a mod that, that's about diplomacy, probably about that diplomatic life. But then I thought about, in multiplayer and players wanting to swap with each other and thinking, I don't want to lock it behind. I know what I should do. I know what it should be, but I don't want to lock it behind anything. So that's why I just made it available, regardless of whether you are, I didn't want to make it, a duke or a king or anything. I just wanted to make it available to everybody that's playable so the players can do that. Locking it behind a diplomacy trait would be bad, and I don't know. So yeah, that's where I have it. So I kind of nerfed that. The second thing you'll notice is now I am a king, and this is an emperor. So I am going to ignore this. I'm going to send Envoy, and you'll notice right now I'm missing gold. This is new. So this cost right here is 150, and this is 200. So this 150 is based off of my skill, my Envoy skill, and the rationale slash kind of reasoning behind that is they would be less. They would be, I would say, less efficient with the money given to them to complete the mission, so they need more money. As for like a very savvy envoy would, know all the places to go, to stay, to do this, to do that, to do so on and so forth. So, yeah, so that's what the gold is. The prestige is based off of tier difference. So I think it's at 150 if you guys are on the same tier, but because this is an emperor and I am king, it's set to 200, and it scales up and down. So, and I don't have the money for that. So let's say I wanted to talk to this person here who is, I think, account. Yep. And you'll notice that the prestige is 75. That's because he is 2 ranks below me. So the prestige is not really that much of a prestige. You're more of a king sending an envoy to a count, so that's a lot better for you. And then, of course, the gold is the same because the gold is dependent on who you're sending to that. For the sake of playing, I'm just going to give myself gold. And then just do that. So now I sent that person here. And this person only has 1 county. So I am not seeing any counties. Well, that's pretty stupid. He has no artifacts. 1 person he can marry, so... right, okay, so this whole goo is localized. So now here you'll notice it's just dismissed. Everything is localized now, so it should be in your language. This is pretty much the same. The alliance values and so on and so forth have different values depending on it. Now, the alliance is you can only have max 4 alliances. To ask for more alliances, it won't allow you to do that. And then the opinion of the alliance is worse. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a lot more things, such as like if you're a warmonger or someone who's into war or does a lot of wars and they don't, then they're less likely to do it. There's going to be a more harsher penalty on that. As it is right now, depending on how many alliances you have, they're less likely to even want to ally with you. And their opinion is more relevant now. So those are some of the mechanic balances that I have in there. So forth. So let's get out of here and let's go over here to another king. Okay, so here let's look at the titles, and now here are some of the bigger differences. The estimated values are now here at the bottom. For the things that don't have it, they won't have it because there's no population or culture depending on, kingdom. It's depending on the counties. It's landless, so that's like that. This population is in there now. Everything is localized to your language, and this population value, someone had mentioned for the sinews of war, looks like they use the same variable that I use. So I kind of changed that and added, so if you have that mod, it now shows the county population that is stored inside the county and not mine specifically. So this is, and like I said, I don't do anything with the population yet. So, just really take this with a grain of salt. This is just future expansion. It's there because when I made Sue for Peace, we were thinking about a population value, and I just kind of kept it. And I'm going to mess with it as I can. So there's that. Aside from that, a lot of the changes are in the background. Let's find somebody. Okay, so this person. So here he's got a bit of diplomacy. So I'm gonna swap over to him, and then what I'm gonna see is I'm gonna take a look at the court, and let's see, he hasn't hired. So some of these, depending on their diplomacy skill, like if they're super diplomatic, let's see who has. This guy's pretty super diplomatic. Let's see. Yeah, this person has an envoy. So now they'll start having envoys, and I'm in the process of actually writing the events of them sending deals. So that's pretty much where I'm at with this mod. Like I said, the other two mods, the Outworld and the Court Creatures, has been postponed due to some technical difficulty issues, etc. Those were supposed to be my creative mods and to have fun, and turns out they turned into more of a headache than I wanted them to be. So that's all for now. I just want to give you a quick update on what I've been doing.